Guys, it's good to see you. Reviewing the tape, a lot of positive things. I thought the energy was really good from start to finish. I thought there was edge on tape. Tech plays hard and they play inspired, and for us to go out and play the way we did, way proud of the team. And then I thought there's so many examples of here's something in practice, here's a drill, here it is showing up in a team period, and then here it is showing up in a game. And to continue to build with that thought in mind, I think just really kind of keeps us focused on a process and gets us better and better, which we're going to need to be for this next one. I have a lot of respect for Coach Venables and this team we're playing and the environment and all of it, and so we're going to have to continue to grow and improve so that we can put our best effort forward. Take any questions you guys got.
Dave, what do you see from Dylan Gabriel and just their offense in general?
He's got a really live arm. There's great confidence in him, and so he'll throw from one hash to the other sideline. He's got great anticipation, so he throws guys open. And then he can beat you with his legs too. If everything's covered and there's nowhere to go with it, he can take off running. And so you have to be really sound with your pass rush, and it helps to have vision on the ball with your coverage, or vision on the quarterback rather. So yeah, he makes it very difficult.
Coach, on Saturday night you talked about you were waiting for some x-rays back on Drake. Do you have an update on him?
Yeah, he broke his leg, and so his fibula is broke, and he's having surgery today. And so I think, we're going to miss him. When I look at Drake, I think of just from this year, just all the improvement he made and just his mindset towards work. And, he was kind of, he was progressing from, hey, here's the second tight end, here's a guy that can block when Ben's getting out into routes, to where now, hey, here's Drake, here's your game plan, here's your routes, right? Here's your matchups. And, I know he was looking forward for more of that, so we're all thinking of him for sure.
Dave, what is the biggest difference between Brett Venables' Oklahoma and Lincoln Riley's Oklahoma that you faced in the past?
I think right now with Coach Venables, I think they're still kind of finding themselves, which, you could say that about us too over here. And so I think there has been improvement these last couple of weeks, and they're playing hard for him, and so you can see the inspired play, and then I think you can see kind of a defense that has found an identity and is playing towards it. And then you're looking at, offensively, they really ran the ball well this last game, and I'm sure that helped their defense. And so you're seeing kind of a collective team kind of emerging. And so I think that'd probably be the best way to answer that question is, this Oklahoma team is becoming right now.
Dave, probably can't expect 5 interceptions every week from your secondary, but was that Saturday night just maybe a glimpse of just how good they can be?
I appreciate the question. I think there's been a lot of work into it. So from the player perspective, it's don't practice afraid of making mistakes, right? Practice to make a play, and then when you're practicing to make a play, stay within this framework of technique and structure and scheme. Just that alone right there for a young player is a whole thing. And then while that's going on, the coach, hey, here's drills to high point a ball. Here's drills to have vision and break. here's drills to undercut a receiver and make a play on the ball. And then from the coach's perspective is that continue with those drills, right? Find the good in it. Don't always point out the bad, and build, build, build. And so for all of that to be happening and not a lot of, I guess, produce, is one way you could say it. It's kind of barren landscape. We're just kind of tilling dirt, and then for all of a sudden for that to happen, I think it's important for the coaches and the players to know that it ain't all of a sudden. There's been a lot of work into that, and to continue with that, I think gives us a chance to hopefully do that again.
Coach, how similar is this OU offensive scheme to the Jeff Levy offense you faced in the Sugar Bowl last year?
It's a good question. I think the tempo is familiar. I think there's less spread out sets. At least here lately, there's been more of a focus on the run game, and almost there's a fair amount of runs that you remember back from OU a year ago to 2 years ago, kind of showing up. Whereas before I think when you're looking at Ole Miss, there was some of that, but it was just more speed and more balls on the perimeter. We're here lately, and as was kind of highlighted before, I think some of it is to help just the overall team and the pace of play and the defense and that. And so there's some, but not a lot.
Dave, the focus on the run game for you guys has been pretty big in these past few weeks, 30-plus carries for Richard in back-to-back weeks. How much of a focal point has he become in this offense, and is he, I guess, the anchor that you guys can lean on?
Appreciate that. He's been a good focal point. I think we're hopeful. Still don't know about Squirrel yet, and we're hoping that we can get Squirrel back. And I think you saw a lot of positive things from Quaylen. I mean, there's physical runs, physical blocks, and so I think he is coming on at a way important time. And so I think there's going to be more of, running back by committee just to help with that overall carry number. But at the same time, just way proud of Richard and just his effort and just his attitude. Because there's some goal line runs in there where the daylight is you could fit a quarter in that thing. And he found it, and found it in an aggressive manner. And so we way appreciate that.
But you talked about the 5 interceptions against Tech, but also 6 sacks against that unit. What specifically, when you watched it back, were you guys able to take advantage of to be able to put so much pressure on the quarterback?
Appreciate that. I think one positive thing leads to another positive thing. I think that's a big part of it, and that might be the biggest part, to be honest. But I think overall, there's just a plan and a feeling of that. Hey, we're going to be aggressive, and we've been, trying to protect this and protect that, and what else do we have to protect, and all this other stuff. To where it was, I think to be aggressive and to maybe change up a look or two in the back end and tighten things up, where in the past it's been more of a zone presentation and covering guys that are covering guys. And then along with that, right, implementing more man pressures and simulated pressures and that. I think all of that combined for the thought going into the game that we're attacking these people. And I think once you have that thought, that frees you up in just your base rush or at the base third down rush to attack too.
Dave, a big part of that pass rush was Gabe Hall.
Mm-hmm.
How have you seen him progress?
These last couple of weeks have probably been his best. I think, there has been a growth in him in just practice habits and a growth in him in, effort which he plays. And so it's really good to see the success that's coming his way based upon his adoption of just great effort and really fine focus on details. I think it's going to serve him well, serve us well here coming up too.
Dave, what are your thoughts on how Jackie Marshall's been playing and what he brings to the defense?
Physicality. I think he brings an edge to us. I think there's a quarterback run in there, and he was in coverage and kind of came out of it, and the quarterback kind of gave us a 1-2, and Jackie stayed right with it and was able to make the tackle. And so I think it gives you some athleticism too. I think he is one. One of the things I love the most is just you just see the growth in people just off the field, and you see how that drives the performance on the field. And Jackie's a great example of that. You go back to this time last year to where it is now. It's just way cool.
But you talked about Oklahoma trying to find a rhythm under Coach Venables. Seems like, much like you guys, they maybe hit a little bit of a rut midway through the season. Now have kind of hit a little bit of a groove. What have they been doing over the past couple games that you've seen maybe them take a step forward?
Complementary football. I think the defense and offense play off each other. I think O-line wise, you see physicality. I think defensively, you see just great effort. I think they're starting to kind of find their groove, and it's like us within a simplified structure, and so they're playing their best football right now.
Dave, how much of an impact did Khalil Keith make, and then also is Kelsey Johnson take on a bigger role now? I mean, it looked like he got a lot of snaps.
Yeah, I love just Khalil's story, and it was difficult for him, in summertime and all of it when he was having to make a decision on, do we try to play through it or do we do something about it? And to do something about it meant, this late start for him, and just with this being, it for him, a very difficult decision to make, and for him to go through all of that and then to do the work, and so that when he came back, there wasn't, added work on top of it because of, we're not in shape, or, this isn't in order, or grades aren't that, and he handled all of it. And that's a way cool thing, because that speaks to just his maturity, and so many people have so many hands in that, just in his career here. But there's a physicality that comes with him. There's a confidence that comes with him, and I think there is a feeling of we're going to get this done when he's in there. And it's not a dig at anyone else. I just think he brings that, and we're thankful for it. He played well, I thought, on Saturday. And then you said Kelsey, he does. Kelsey's way aggressive. Film was way impressive. I think his film might be the most impressive of all the impressive performances that we had on Saturday. It might be Kelsey Johnson the most. I think he really got into some blocks and finished violently. I'm so thankful for that.
Dave, you mentioned one good thing leads to another on defense. Mm-hmm. How much of those interceptions on the back end, were sort of in concert with those guys making that push up front, mm-hmm. and then sort of vice versa too, the coverage on the back end helping them maybe mm-hmm. get a coverage sack or something? Yeah.
No, I think a lot of it had to do. I thought, I think that first series, or you could probably go the first two series, kind of told the story that really played out throughout the game. I think to start the game, you notice the quarterback's holding on to the ball, and he was expecting Tampa to and zone and seams, and none of it was there, and he was holding on to it. There's changes that all took place in the back end to keep it tighter. And then on the other side of it, typically we're real thick on the D linemen, are real thick on the offensive line, and fighting through guys to squeeze off run gaps and all of it. And if it's a run, it's great. If it's a pass, you're kind of blocking yourself. And so there were stunts that, if it's a run, no stunt. If it's a pass set, turns into a stunt. And we were getting pressure just based upon that. And so I think, all of it is good in the time and space that was last, Saturday's game. And now it's like that. Now that that's on tape, moving forward with that type of thinking, and continue to try to push the envelope to be able to give our guys the best opportunity to play this aggressive is going to be key.
Dave, kind of on a less serious note, figured we should ask it. Do you have any Halloween plans today? And if so, what are you wearing as a costume?
Well, I appreciate that question.
It's only right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, today we've got a bunch of staff with just little kids, and I remember when Dion and I, when our children were that age. I remember specifically living in Hawaii, and the staff were on would, whatever day Halloween was on, would find a way to kind of make it work to where you could go home and be with your family during Halloween. I remember that being so cool, and just walking the streets there with your kids. And so we're going to do that here. We've done that since I've been here, and so we'll walk off the practice field and get everyone home to their families and all of that. But I don't know. I think a lot of from my time, from the drive home to getting home, it's going to be finding a way where I don't have away with my wife, where I don't have to answer the door to hand out the candy. See if we can work something out. I don't know.
So are you wearing anything?
No.
Dave, Monterey, what's his status?
We're hoping that we get him back. I think it's a wait and see right now. He worked out some yesterday, and he's working out again today. I think it looks promising. Probably no more. Thursday is going to be kind of the cutoff for that.
But what's his injury?
Hamstring.
Dave, given the news of the new media rights deal, what are your thoughts on the job that Commissioner Yormark has done so far in his first few months?
Yeah, well, I mean, very proud to be in this conference. And, I mean, you just look at, just speaking for football, I mean, you look at a couple years ago in Iowa State, you look at last year and us, and then, we're still fighting in it now. But you look at, for sure, TCU and Kansas State and everything, it just shows the depth of the conference. And then I think just with, the news that's coming out now, it's just makes a strong conference even stronger. And so excited for the future, and excited for him specifically too.
Dave, are there a couple guys who really stepped up as leaders in the last couple weeks?
I think that's continuing. I think, we've had guys like Dylan Doyle and Blake Shapen, Connor Galvin, Jacob Gall, kind of been stalwarts, Bryson Jackson. But then, like a Micah Makuza and Apu, like Garmin Randolph. We've had some guys that have just really kind of been through it in terms of the maturity thing, and which we all go through it. And so, but to come out on the other side and to see that, hey, the off the field drives the on the field, it's pretty neat. And so I think that's happening right now.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you guys.